it's clear, we know, yeah, that like when you get closer to God, you start to view yourself as far more wretched and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I think that's just something about doing something with morality to earn an income doesn't incentivize me to go and do things that I wouldn't do. Although it's enticing, there's a lot of money to be made, very easy work. And I'm not taking away from the fact that you still got to turn up and be consistent and there's the discipline involved. I'm not taking away from that.
Of course.
Right? But I don't know, maybe it's just, I don't know if it's just me, but I'd much rather battling, working hard for every little thing that I earn and maybe having to budget and be a bit more sensible here and there than, do things that I just, I don't know, wouldn't align with my beliefs.
Yeah, we'll put it to you this way. Think about your transition right now.
Yeah.
You've gone from being, in terms of lines of work, you went from real estate agent back to concrete, now back to real estate agents, being a real estate agent.
Yeah.
And you feel that you're more in line with your, not that doing concreting was against your moral compass. There's nothing, anything wrong with that, I'm not taking it away. But what you're doing now brings you more fulfillment because you're showcasing to the world your actual vibrant personality. So in a comparison from like your standpoint, and even mine as well, to our current situations to those other ones, you're one face and another face. And that was very much like you, because you're being a face to being concreting, where you can't really showcase your personality. And even if you did, it probably wouldn't benefit you. So now you're constantly in this wave of put this mask on, put this mask on. It's the same comparison.
Yeah, it is.
Whereas now with what you're doing, the way you're speaking, the way you're showing your personality is within, you're a very likable guy with your kind of personality and the way you talk. And that's beneficial to you when it comes to creating relationships with people in your line of work.
Yeah.
Well, I think ultimately life is relationships. And sales is relationships, coaching is relationships. Like, look at the relationship we have right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, if I'm instructing you and helping you to do something, the likelihood of you doing that is dependent on how much you like me or how much you respect me. Both somewhat the same, but a level of respect, I think, above all else.
Yeah,
because you can like someone but not really respect them.
100%.
And the words that come out of their mouth won't hold much weight to it. So that comes down to the relationship. It's not really about my knowledge per se, but you look at it with some level of respect, so you have buy-in on it.
Yeah.
And that's the same with anything. And that just comes down to the relationship. Like I was saying to a guy the other day, I go, it doesn't matter on the education level of the coach or the student or the results you get in high school. If you're trying to garner respect out of people, then it goes deeper than just your educational. It's like, am I going to work for this guy or not?
Yeah.
You're in the workplace, your boss.
Oh, man.
You know what I mean?
Look, my perspective of that, of what you're saying is spot on in terms of the relationship side of it, being likable and building relationships. I think in my experience, in terms of the construction, the change of industry to where I am, I think a relationship is only built from that perspective, or where I could showcase my personality and build a relationship from that. In that particular field, I think it could only last as long as not getting the next shit job, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Right? Because fundamentally inside, I couldn't see myself 20 years down the track being that person who was instructing me on what to do. You know what I mean? There's an element of respect in that. I'm not judging the person or the title or the role.
So you're saying you looked at that person and you basically made a decision, I don't want to be like that guy.
And it's not just him specifically. He's got a great personality and I'm sure he's a wonderful human being. I just couldn't resonate with that, where that person is as being the pinnacle of my existence and where I could showcase the best aspects of me. I felt like the best aspects of me were only being able to be shown from the fact that I am spotting this today as opposed to cleaning drainage pits as an example.
Yeah.
Right, and that's as far as it goes without the element of the next phase. When most people go, okay, now I want to be this and then I want to get to that. I never really had that. And I think that's where every time I would do something new, I would lose interest because I couldn't see myself as ending up in that perspective, in that position.
Well, what was your driving factor to do?
Money.
Okay.
Money only.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that doesn't have its place in the world either, but it was just whatever was going to pay me more for the hour next was the one that I was going to go for. And then just like the difference between motivation and discipline, it doesn't take long before the motivation runs out and then it's just a discipline thing. I think if I was to use training as a perspective here, like yes, because I respect you and I admire you from that perspective, that I'm happy not only to do the work, but like I can see an end goal or I can see a part of the journey that I'd like to see myself at one day. It's more of an inspiration thing. I can see myself having this particular phase of my life and I'm like, oh, that would be a great place to get to until the next phase and so on. That's why for me, like, I guess going back into this industry, I made a decision that I wasn't going to chase the money immediately and I knew that I was going to be on an income that was far less than what I was earning, which is, has its challenges, of course. With making that kind of decision, you've got to have somebody by your side that's prepared to make that decision with you if you do have a partner.
And support you.
And just go, look, I see the potential in this person and prepared to back them in this phase of their journey.
Yep.
But if I was to look at the pinnacle of where I'm working, I would turn around and say that I would have a very happy and successful life. One that's been fulfilling if I ended up like this person. And I'm not saying that I want to be this person or that person. I think I'm just resonating with the freedom that they have, the passion that they have for what they do, and how choosing the passion side of it and the things that resonate with your personality and we have torso, man. I could see myself going, you know what? I could see myself in that position of life one day, and I admire that.
Yeah, I mean, and you made that decision, and it's a big decision, man. It's a big decision because, like you said, there's a sacrifice that needs to come with it. It's a monetary thing. It's a start again thing.
Yeah,
and that's
the hardest part.
And it's a start again thing at a stage of your life where people would probably look at you and think you should be pretty well established in your line of work. And I did the same thing. I had this conversation the other day. I did the exact same thing. I was an electrician. Still am. Still got my license.
Yeah.
Just renewed it recently. But money was great. Could I do that for the rest of my life? Sure. What level of fulfillment would I get? Compared to doing something that I don't technically feel like is work because all I'm doing is being me.
Yeah.
And
that's so important.
And essentially at its like black and white, all I'm doing is helping people act like me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like
100%.
Well, what do? What do they want? They want training. I help them with their nutrition, which is things that I do. I make them more disciplined, which is something that I embody. I like to make them assertive type of men, which is something that I embody. Sure, I mean there's probably some intricacies like small things that you know, they don't need to know, like, I don't know, like I have a certain colour fridge or, you know what I mean? Like not 100%, but the big significant factors that are definitive of who I am, I essentially just help people become experts in that. And where that takes them with their life is completely up to them. When I think about that now, it's kind of hilarious.
In what way?
Well, when I look at it like a bloke, I'm just teaching people to be me. You know what I mean? Like, like it's kind of stupid, but it's so useful. Maybe being me is not the right way to say it.
No, I get it though. I understand it. I can see why you're saying that.
Yeah.
Ultimately, this is the lifestyle that you lead.
And
this is the way that you behave. This is what you do day to day, and somehow you've able to monetize that. Now, I'm not saying somehow to take away from the fact that there was an effort involved, your marketing, right? But fundamentally, it's you're being you, and you're able to monetize that. But in saying that, you thoroughly enjoy doing these things, and that's brilliant. I think that's where the fulfillment is. For me, now, I guess I can't say the same thing, but there's elements of similarity to that.
Do you know what the funniest thing about this is? I'm saying this to you, that I'm teaching people just to be me, while talking to someone with a shaved head who's Greek, with the same cross.
Yep, that's from baptism, by the way. I'm not gonna, no fangirling aspects of it either.
So the element of truth behind it.
It's ironic. But it's a good ironic. It's a beautiful ironic. Irony's hilarious.
That's actually hilarious.
Yeah, it's true. It's so funny. It couldn't be more of a conundrum of a situation to be expressing that. But you're right. I think for me, what I'm doing is, okay, I'm not training people or anything like that, but it's my personality that makes the difference in whether I build a relationship or not. Ultimately, building a relationship leads to business, business leads to money. No secret. There's other steps in between. But fundamentally, from somebody who's done concreting, from, been in civil construction, in refrigeration, tried many things from the construction standpoint. Nothing against it. My personality pretty much means shit if I'm unable to do the tasks in the time that it's required and have that skill set and that effort and the discipline to turn up to it on a day-to-day basis, going, if I could end up like the person who's given me the opportunity to do this, then I am here. For me, fulfillment was a big factor in being here. I'm not going to be disappointed later in life if I've got a house that's paid off, a couple of kids running around, and I'm firing up the barbecue and living a very ordinary kind of life, but I'm fulfilled with how I go about it and how I got there. That's fine. Not to say that if there's an opportunity to get more or go for more in different avenues, that I wouldn't walk down that path 100% if I'm interested in it, and if I find there's going to be a fulfilling aspect to it, 100%, I'm all in. But the bread and butter, that's the one for me that if I don't get to be me in it, I lose interest, Chris.
But you know what? At the same time, I'm going to question you here, because as you were speaking out loud, then I came to think about this situation. You're looking at it from two different perspectives. You've jumped into real estate right now as an employee, but it's also / your own boss at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's not an equivalent comparison to your role as a concreter, because your role as a concreter was just an employee. Am I wrong? All right.
Spot on.
So, as an employee, you can play devil's advocate and say that, your personality can allow you to get a better job within that company itself, and you could climb up. But where I'm alluding to is more so, if you were to start your own business and concreting was the skill set involved, and you were operating it as if you were running it, like you had your employees, and your personality is going to win you jobs.
Of course.
As well.
Yeah.
Why wasn't that potentially an option for you?
I didn't feel interested enough in the things that I tried that I could see myself having the discipline in order to want to master it, to then be able to teach it and educate it and take that path. I was always inspired solely immediately from, this is the income that I'm going to be getting. It's incrementally better than my last income. Therefore, I have more freedom and more opportunity in the things that I could do. But my mind was in the wrong place.
Okay, so would you say that you just did it for the money?
Absolutely.
And your skill of it wasn't, you weren't looking to optimize your skill in order to teach other people to do it? Is that what you're saying? You know what I'm trying to say?
No,
Because
absolutely. I agree. Yeah,
you could
definitely. I could have if I had applied myself to it enough.
Yeah, what I'm sensing is you just didn't like the line of work, and maybe the people that were in it as well, the environment.
Yeah.
Because I was the same too, bro. I look around, I'm like, and I remember having a situation where I was an apprentice and I saw the A grade, and we were on an ABA site, and he was getting good money, bro. As an apprentice, you're looking at these guys, you're like, oh, these guys are cleaning it up there. And he looked really unhappy, and I remember he was pissed off at work all the time. And I'm thinking to myself, "Re malaka, you're probably katharisi in 2.5K. Didn't have mother. Ya saradores.
Yep.
What are you upset about?" Now I'm saying one example. Doesn't mean they're all like that. It's still a great situation to be in.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I saw that, and I was like, that was just kind of like one of those moments. I was like, fuck that.
Makes two of us.
Is that going to be me? Didn't have to be, don't get me wrong.
Of course.
But, product of your environment, if that's the environment I've been, then it's not going to make sense. Now, sure, if he was fitter, would he be happier? Yeah, by all means. But those small little things. I even remember this one was massive. When I was a first year apprentice, I was working at a switchboard factory in Moorabbin. And I reflect on it now, and it's so just like, buzzer would go off, 7 a.m.
Yeah.
We start work. And everyone would just get off out of their tables, having their little cafe before work, and we'd just go into work. And then 9:30, 9:45 to go back to work. And I remember that. And I went and took a fucking shit in the toilet. And I came out of that toilet, and there was this fucking old guy just standing where people sit down and dry themselves in the shower area. And he had a stopwatch on him.
Oh.
And he clicked it, and he went, "Tut-tut," and he said the number. From memory, it was in the 9s or the 10s. Minutes.
I don't think you understand how much I can relate to this, by the way.
And I'm looking at him, and I go, "Who are you?" Little did I know, this guy was director of the switchboard factory and had part ownership in also their contracting company, which does the installations on site. But I'm looking at him, I'm like, I've never seen this guy before, because I'm employed externally as a subcontractor through a hire company. So I was a group training apprentice.
Gotcha.
So it's not like this guy employed me or the boss. So
yeah.
I don't really know. I'm not I don't even have the uniform, right? I'm not part of the...
face to face and have that discussion.
And I'm like, who is this guy? Pulled me in to the office with a couple other guys, and I explained it to him, and I'm still sitting there like, so? Anyway, there was a big chat at the end of the week, and it was us, the Sparkies, and the sheet metal factory guys as well, because they were all under the same thing. They'd make the boards and we'd wire them up. Anyway, they had a big chat. There was 15 of us talking, and they were explaining to us that we've caught people like taking too long of shits, and basically they ran the numbers and they said, you know, we may as well pay someone to stand in there and keep you in check for how long you, like 70, 80 grand a year. They pulled out full numbers there, like full mathematicians.
Wow.
Like, we may as well pay someone 70 grand to stand in there and keep an eye on yous because that's better productivity for our company. And I'm listening to this as a first year apprentice going, okay, what level, man? Like, what's going on? And I reflect back on that now, I'm like, wow, bro. And there'd be people still, when I was doing my apprenticeship in that factory, doing the same shit.
Yep.
And you know what the scariest thing about this is? I remember telling Michael Buttle, Jace, when I was an apprentice, and this goes to show how far my mind has gone since then and how much I've evolved. I reflect on it now, I'm like scared as fuck. I said to Jace, I go, bro, I'd be happy. And I even said it to other guys I was working there. I go, like, I'd be happy to work here 7 till 3 every day, get my money, no problem, 15 minutes from home. Oh, I couldn't think of anything worse, bro.
Yeah, you know, I encountered these individuals too, and just so you know that they're not always the guy running the show either. There's a few people in there that have
like just employees.
Thoroughly appreciated their oppressor that much, right, that they've taken on the responsibility to remind you that you were in there for 7.5 minutes, and they're on an equivalent level to you, except for the fact that their skill set is probably greater at this stage. You know, I'm thinking, not going to be that hidi that goes around reminding people, who, mind you, at an 18-year-old who probably, look, some people are sharp. I can look at myself as an 18-year-old, mate. And the first thing I would have consumed that morning on the way there would have been probably a dare iced coffee or a large cafe and a sausage roll. 3 minutes ain't going to cut it in that room, mate. Right, it's going to be at least close to 10. And then you walk out and there's this bloke. He goes, mate, you know you were in there for 10 minutes. So you go there.
Wait, so you're telling me this fucking happened to you too?
Well, now for that, one time. Mate, when you're going from site to site, there's just an evolved version of that person at the next one. Just different hair colour, different height. He exists. Υπάρχει εκεί, παντού. Doesn't matter where you're going. There's that one guy that reminds you of the hessimo that you just ripped. Because for some unknown reason, this just didn't agree with you that one time. You know? Yeah, those people exist, man. And I just can't be in that environment, man.
Think about, I'll break this down deep, bro. I'll break this down deep for so many different reasons. Because firstly, what a loser. Secondly, if you have that type of behavior pattern, I already know straight off, like that's a big enough like reason for me to just think I would never get along with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if we both like charcoal steak and this and that, like you would be, because that would also correlate into so many other big areas that would define his personality.
Yep.
That wouldn't just align with my moral
Correct.
compass.
Yep.
And I guess that's a huge reason as to why we are where we are.
Yeah.
It wasn't, and this answers my question, it wasn't the fact that you could have used your personality in the business to excel your position, but it was more so to what, like, you know what I mean? You're gonna hang out with these type of people, to be around those type of people. And yeah, I guess it kind of makes sense, bro.
If you're capable of that, like as an individual,
yeah,
that I know that this is a really wild take on why we do what we do in our lives.
Yeah.
We're talking about, bathroom etiquette or bathroom timing for that. But it does go deeper than that at times. I couldn't be the type of person to do that to someone. I thought to myself, we've got bigger problems to encounter. Let's focus all of our attention into making sure today is as productive as possible. You know, if you're worried about someone doing that and that little bit, then you don't have big enough problems, man, in your life, like, or priorities. If you could say that to someone, like, what else would you do? You know, like, what kind of person are you? I don't know. I just don't want to be around people that somehow obsess over, in my mind, such minute details in life.
Yeah, bro. Like, his missus ain't taking his last name.
Nah.
His missus ain't taking his last name, bro.
Nah.
Like, you're a dibby dobber.
Yeah.
Remember those guys in primary school?
I do, man.
Like, you're a loser there.
Why?
Us and us, like, well, you ran to the teacher.
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
That's what that's what I mean. I think it's...
Yeah, and it's...
But the problem is, Chris, in some industry, I'm not saying all of them, man, but there is environments, bro. There are environments. And
the cliquettes and shit like that.
yeah. Right, where...
I'd be finished, bro.
I couldn't... Nah.
I would be good and proper gone.
Yeah.
Good and proper gone. Because I don't understand... Like, I've never worked in... I mean, corporate environments as well, I've heard, is just nuts too. I don't have that ability to have that type of etiquette. I can't put on a fake face, especially when you go down like the corporate environments that push the agendas and, you know, the gay days or the weeks, or we got to wear the purples for whatever color mismatch, malaki. I've heard it. I don't know exactly how it works, but put it this way, man, and there's no way I'm putting myself in an environment where I've got to bite my tongue. And again, mask on, mask off. For what, man? I think COVID was a big wake-up call.
100%. It drove... It's like a massive political correctness that one has to do, where it's not even political correctness, it's just sheer stupidity that you have to participate in, or at least follow the rules of, in order to stay in the environment that you're in.
Talking from COVID.
Just talking about before.
Just say like a tranny week or something. Like, let's accept.
Yeah, you were saying before that you don't know how you would go in a corporate environment because you wouldn't know if you would be able to participate or go about these kind of days and this behaviour and the level of pressure. And that's the thing. If I can't do that either.
No, there's no way.
If you don't like who I am and the way that I am, look, I've got things about me that aren't exactly 100% clean-cut real estate that we think of or that we know. And I'm not trying to be that. I'm trying to be exactly who I am, and if you don't like that, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I can't pretend anymore for money. I just can't.
Yeah.
I can't pretend, mate. I don't want to try and be this or, you know, accept that, or whatever the trade-off is. Whatever the trade-off is, if I have to change who I am, that's my trade-off, right? I'd rather have to chase my money, work hard for it, do the dirty work that needs to be done, the cold calls, do the things that has to be done to make this successful for me, but I have an opportunity to be me doing it, right? I don't have to change who I am to do that. So I don't mind doing it hard, going for it, because like we were saying at the very beginning, I'm just monetizing being me, fundamentally, with some skill set involved, like,
of course,
like what you're doing. I can't just go and be a trainer right now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, with the knowledge that I have.
Yeah.
I just jump. Hey, Malaka, do a few push-ups and a couple of these, and you're gonna be able to make money and whatever there.
Yeah.
Right? You have to have an element of a discipline and a skill to it. I think for people like us, and I'm not speaking for you, but just from the conversation that we're having with those two, we're just two kind of people that we've been there, done that with certain things, and if being ourselves is the trade-off in order to succeed, we're not prepared to do that.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, not everyone's gonna be a fan of it too, bro.
Of course not.
I wouldn't say that's what I've learned. I've always known that, because by and large, I've always been outspoken in my opinion, and I never hid that even when I was working as a Sparky. I guess my change wasn't a reflection of me not being able to be, well, it was to a certain degree, but I wasn't biting my tongue in those environments. And yeah, I've always had kind of people that would backlash on my opinion because it's so down your throat, and I don't have a shame in saying it. So, but now online, obviously you have the ability, like if I would speak before online, it might be like to a group of people, at most 20, say.
Yeah.
And they'd hear it. Now it can be in the thousands, millions, worldwide. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
So the backlash can be just as significant. But I think it's important to be able to just say what you want to say.
I agree.
It's, fuck, bro. Like when you think about it now, like Charlie Kirk died for it.
You plucked that from like the bug.
You know what I'm saying?
I was just about to use that as an example. Spot on.
You know what I'm saying?
Spot on.
He died for it.
100%.
And it's... Look, we probably wouldn't be talking about it right now had he not been... I guess the most... Because it was the reason why it was so bad, first and foremost, obviously it's an execution, it's hectic. But secondly, it's because of the age that he was at. 31 years old.
Same age as me.
I'm 33, but basically the same age.
Yeah.
There's a lot of relation that we have with him.
Absolutely.
And he's entering into the peak of his manhood, his greatest ability to influence the world. He's literally on his way up, and I guess that's the significance. And obviously he's got 2 kids, he's got a wife. The list goes on.
Of course.
But if he was like an 85-year-old man, probably wouldn't be as dramatic. So I think there's something for us to learn in this, because he was a martyr killed at his prime, and I think it's a message from God.
Ooh.
Because I want to,
Hang on.
and I don't want you to take this the wrong way, because let me explain. God gives us signals, and people always say, well, if God exists, why is there famine? Why is there this? Why is there bad in the world? God isn't a genie that is just his harmony and everyone just like skips off to the rainbows. Maybe all these bad things that are occurring in life are signals from God for us to basically get our shit together.
I agree with you.
And wake us up.
Yeah.
So if he, in a way, Charlie's execution is a signal from God from, this is where you guys are at, think about it. Like, he's talking to the world, like, have a look at you guys. You're executing a guy, I'm gonna put this on, like, wake up there, boys, wake up. If I need to sacrifice a 31-year-old male in his prime for you guys to wake up and get rid of this nonsense and bring people back to religion and do whatever it takes to remove the animosity of these people that are twisted in their head, they're sick in their head. I don't understand where you get these ideologies from. We can go deep into that soon, but I'm looking at it from a positive perspective, and it's really hard for a lot of people to grasp it, but that's my take on it.
There's definitely been a lot of improvement.
Because Jesus was 33, wasn't he, when he died?
Was.
He was sacrificed.
Correct.
That's hectic.
Yeah.
We look at him as our Almighty, 2,000 years later. Maybe the martyr of Charlie Kirk is going to have the same weight of it.
I've seen the wave since.
You know what I mean, man?
Absolutely, and I know what you're saying. You're taking a positive outlook to the situation, and I completely agree with that. I like that you've taken that perspective from it, because that's similar to life. And the extremities that we can view a positive outcome of, I guess, define sometimes our day to day. So I agree with you there.
Yep.
I can. There's definitely been a positive since that happened, but by no means am I saying that that was a positive situation.
Yeah.
There has been a positive coming from it, and it's absurd why. Really, I thought the guy was brilliant. That's the first time, no bullshit, that's the first time for somebody that's not connected directly to my family, when I saw that, I was genuinely devastated in my heart. Like, it was as if somebody that meant something to me, directly within my circle, it hit me like that, because I just thought to myself, the restoration that he was doing, in my opinion, was God's work.
I actually didn't know who he was until he died.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't. And your reaction right there is, I heard that from every time I've said that.
Yeah,
people are like, "Bro, you nuts?" And then when I saw him and I saw his Instagram and how many people he had following him, I was like, "Whoa!"
There was a great flutter of beautiful videos in the next 72 hours post his.
And look, and since his passing, I've seen like his one-on-one talks that he's gone to, like all the universities, and basically just wrecking trannies, or all those type of, I don't know, some were trannies, some were just guys that were really lost. But yeah, that's what I've seen.
I think it was a lot deeper than that, in my opinion.
Probably was. I didn't even know him, man.
Look, there was a lot of that in it, but it wasn't even in a way of just being so abrupt about it either. He was really spreading God's message. With every debate that he had, every bit of dialogue that he shared, it was always consistent. It was always about the separation from God aspect of the topic, and the law, and then he would articulate his word. It was never really like bashing anyone per se. It was just like, well, look, I'm going to view it from the point of the law, from a God point of view, from a law point of view, whatever the topic is. And if it doesn't align with that, then I disagree with it. And I think because his approach was like that, it drew so many people who probably didn't like him to begin with to end up liking him, because when you think of a society as a whole and you see the cracks in society, my opinion is it's because it's the absence of faith in the centre of it. That's my belief. I genuinely believe that.
Absence of faith in the centre
of society.
And that's the reason for those people's ideologies that are against him?
I think there are a lot of things that happen on a day-to-day life that are responsible for having God not in the centre of society, because I think for me, the closer that I've gotten to God, the more wretched I've found myself. And I'm not really that much of a bad person, Chris. I don't do a lot of things that the world has produced in terms of, I'm not a serial killer there.
Yeah, Katalava.
Do you know what I mean? I've got like moral compass, but I'm sitting here thinking about the things that I've done that I'm really not proud of. Like, fuck, that was terrible, George. You shouldn't have done that, right? Did I go and kill anything or anyone? Sorry for that matter. No, but there was me going, man, that was bad. The closer I've gotten to God, where 10, 15 years ago, you don't do that. That's part of life, man, or whatever the topic is.
Which goes to show that if you were killing someone, how far away you are from God.
Oh man, for me to even entertain how that would feel.
Yeah, I don't know.
How do you go to bed? How do you just go have it? Like, you've just done something like that, go and have a shower, jump into bed and go, all right, tomorrow's a new day. Without God in the centre of society, in the centre of yourself.
In a nutshell, bro, that's essentially... Yeah, I mean, put it this way, they wouldn't be going to church.
No, certainly not.
And I guess there's that running joke when, that's a joke in itself. Like, you laughed, but you can say like, someone, you need church or go to church. Like that's a saying people will say to people to basically, you wouldn't say that to someone that didn't need it because of the actions they're taking.
Correct. Like, y'all need Jesus.
Basically.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
And it's, and this is why, that's again why I think it is a message from God, because there's no one in that crowd that's against him, that's lining up there to, get the mic and argue with him and get wrecked as well, by the way. From what I've seen, he's just absolutely destroying them. Now, granted, he's a lot more educated, and he can articulate himself better. But regardless, like he wins on all fronts from his point that I've seen. Especially when it comes to like the male gender sort of stuff. But yeah, they're godless, bro, and it's so. Like, what are we? What's going on, bro?
I reckon I know.
What's going on?
I'm not saying I don't have the answer. I'm the be all and end all, but I have an opinion on it, as I experienced it. Not here to offend anyone, right? Anyway, past that anyway.
Yeah.
But I went down a journey from a spiritual perspective, right? And I got into all the crystals.
You went down there, huh?
Oh yeah.
The crystals, huh?
Oh mate. Under the moonlight. Stand it up. Right, come on. Right?
That's proper, like. That's proper.
Hey.
The crystals, huh?
Big American. Right? I've been there. Mid-20s. Angry at the world. Come on, revolution, let's do it.
Oh, fuck, best one.
And again, don't get me wrong, there's elements to it that are fantastic. Let's go be out in nature and light a barbecue up and go for a swim.
Yeah.
All right, mad. But it leads you to believing that you can be your own God.
Yeah.
Right? You got the power. You can do this and you can do that.
It's just freedom bullshit.
Yeah.
Is it? Like, yeah, we're free, man. Do what you want. Is it that sort of like hippie type shit?
Nah, it's not that bad, right?
Okay.
Look, don't get me wrong. Everything has its extremities in any aspect.
That's how the way I'm looking at it, it's like people that were just like hectically on gear, that are just looking away, like escaping, and they become like these like free spiritual, like, you know what I mean? That's my take.
There's an element to that, right? Where you're 100% right. Though in saying that, there was definitely a positive message behind it, in thinking that there's an element of truth in all religion. It was never it didn't have an animosity towards it, or towards faith, or towards scripture. It was just merely that apparently the message is lost. There are things that have been tampered and so on, and you yourself can liberate yourself from whatever. And I think that you end up going down a really interesting path after that, where you start having real challenges in life, and alone you can't do it. You know what I mean?
So is that a moment where you had a challenge and essentially just thought to yourself, this is a big malakia?
The one thing that I've found that remained consistent to me was try having a conversation about that pathway and not having references to misinterpretations of Jesus brought up, because it's going to come up. No, this represented that. This time of Jesus' life represented this.
Okay, so what does that mean exactly? I'm confused. Like put into context. Like, do they view Jesus as someone that's not Jesus, I guess?
Not the Son of God, no.
But they believe that he was around. They're just not who he was. Who we believe.
A highly regarded individual.
Yeah.
Right. Not mistaken. But that it was a teaching of his that you could acquiesce, and a message that there are many teachers in Buddha and here and there and everywhere. Right, and that they're all the same truth, leading to one, yes, God, ever-present entity, whatever, but I found it was very, there's a word for it, it's not coming off the tip of my tongue, but there's a name for it where I feel like it takes bits and bobs of every faith.
Yeah, so they're basically like a basket where they're like, you know what?
Take the good out of everything.
What Buddha said, yeah, I'll write that down. What he said, yeah.
And take from that what you will. But there's no disciplinary action to it.
Right, okay. So there's no like, is there any like ceremonies?
There might be like there's a karma that potentially exists, that what you get and what you get is what you give from that perspective.
So they're not ripping souvlaki for certain like days?
No, fundamentally, right? In a nutshell, didn't stop me, but and my circle though, I think that it lacks discipline. Mm-hmm. It lacks discipline.
So it's more like it's just some freedom crap.
Correct, and almost not to say that there's no ramifications, but it's like no ramifications in a way.
And the demographic of people, what were these people like? Like, what were they? Were they from a mixed variety of races? Or the better question that I have is, those people that were from whatever background they came from, I'd assume that they wouldn't be that proud of that background. Because if they were, that the pride would also reflect within their religious tie they have from, say, an Indian, or if they were Greek and they were going into that, well then, how Greek were they if they were doing this? Because that means that they're technically not ripping souvlaki on Easter anymore. Because now they're crystal, whatever the hell you want to call it, I don't even know what the hell you call it, but now you're a crystal guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
In a way.
So now you're not doing name days, like.
No.
Otherwise, you're not. Otherwise, if
no.
You're not diving deep into it.
Correct. Look, I'm not. I never went that far.
Okay.
Right.
But I'm asking for those.
Oh no. So I think I have to be clear from my perspective.
Or are you just doing it to like, I don't know? Tell me. I'm intrigued.
It was a lost phase, you know, where
you're looking for answers. It sounds like it.
Yeah, really deep into.
And how old were you when this was going on?
Early to mid 20s.
Okay. Well, that's pretty, I guess, normal to go through that when you're at your stage of your life as a man where you're young, bro.
I think some people can go down certain pathways one way and in another. For me, so I can only speak for myself. The souvlaki were still being ripped. Right? Name days, Easter, all the tradition aspect of it.
Right,
didn't subside in any way, shape or form. It was very prominent, and that never really required question either. From that perspective, right?
Thank you, God.
Thank you, God. Right? Still left me with enough of a moral compass. But in saying that, it's enticing because there's a lack of discipline in it, in my opinion. I think that you could go out and just do whatever you want, right? But doing whatever you want doesn't fucking always work, man. You need I'm a big fan of a routine, a regime, having a structure and those things. And I would hear a lot of references to Jesus in it, and I'm thinking, well, it was always about Jesus, mate.
Interesting.
You know, why is Jesus so heavily mentioned on this path that's somehow separate, but in somehow the same, using Jesus as the greatest example out of everything, you know? And growing up an Orthodox Christian, I didn't start off like this. I had gotten drawn to the idea of freedom from it, but then in my particular case and my perspective, I felt like I lost a lot of the discipline side of things, you know. And I feel like if you were to follow the Bible in your life, each to their own, that you can't tell me that your life would not either A, significantly improve, or that it wouldn't get worse by following these things. And when you're young and we're a product of our environments, and I'm not talking about necessarily your household or whatnot, but the culture too. Pop culture was massive when we were growing up. You know what I mean? Things were out there that were a lot of people drew attachments to. You dressed a certain way, if you listened to a certain style of music, there was a sense of togetherness and there was a sense of relativity to it. Like, there's multiple, you know, they weren't just like cunts hugging trees, and you just decided to like ditch your t-shirt and wear a potato sack and rock up to this tree and be like, hey, boy, let's fucking hug a tree and shit. No, right? You start, like for me, I was getting into history hard, ancient history. How the fuck they built these pyramids there, like locked into true north of the planet. All these different things you start.
Yeah.
How the fuck do we do that here? You know, and then I guess there's an element of magic too, in a way. Not that bad stuff, but you think that maybe we are capable of more as electrical beings. From that perspective, it was more of an energies thing.
Yeah.
Energies, frequency, vibe type thing. And to some element, I can't even now can't say that there's no element to that, because it's relative to us.
100%.
Right? Definitely relative to us.
Yeah, bro.
So there's an element of it that goes, okay, well that's logical. I try as best, to think as logically as possible in my, so there was that side of it. I just felt like that side of it lacks structure, lacks discipline. I know I've said it a few times now, but it's true.
Yeah. No, I hear you, man.
I've lived undisciplined a lot.
And I think that is super important for, this ties back to, why is all these things in society occurring? And I would very much argue that all these people are very undisciplined in their life.
Far away from God too.
Of course, far away from God, but I think that comes hand in hand, because
it does.
Being close to God implies a level of discipline.
100%.
Even if it's as simple as making a prayer daily. Something that I think I need to get back into, going to church.
I definitely need to improve
going to church on Sundays.
Yeah.
That's also a discipline.
100%.
Okay, I'm going to go. That's part of what my Sunday routine is, just like any other routine that you may have. That's a discipline. And, if you don't go and you want to go and you should go, then you're just being lazy. I put my hand up and I've prioritized other things. And so there's another element of discipline. I mean, it's endless, but that's just kind of like a few surface level things. If you open up the book and go into everything like that, there's a lot more teachings that will imply a level of discipline.
For sure.
But I think the best thing about it is the fact that it teaches you to be a good person, and to be a good person means to provide, I guess, as much value as you can possibly do to those around you. And that's going to help so many other people. But I'm just really confused on how the hell it just got so out of hand, and we're literally at the point we're at right now. I genuinely cannot. I don't know if I'm just so blindsided, but I can't find the reasoning for it to occur. Like, let's just bring up one, for example, like, I don't know, man, like gay marriage, or the fact that you can get married, but like, you can bring up a kid in the world as well. How do they not see that, bro, like, that's hectic?
I can't answer that.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. There's a lot of things that make me feel that way.
Like, I'm not trying to like rip them.
No, you're not.
I'm just generally like, bro, like, hang on a second, like, fuck, like, it's biology, yeah, like.
I can't understand it. I don't have an answer for it. I grew up a certain way. I'm not saying that's an impact, that having a different upbringing is directly responsible.
It's full on, bro.
For why it happens. I'm sure that there's more to it, and whatnot, but that's what I mean, man. When you're getting closer to God, the closer you get to God, really, and I'm very far away, dude, for that. Just saying, by the way, I'm lacking in a lot of areas.
Yeah, no.
But that's the standard now.
But
the standard is like that. Oh, I should be praying and going to church more is the standard.
But there's an awareness.
That's exactly what I'm
awareness.
articulating. It's a complete unawareness to ramifications. Ultimately, it's because you and I share this I believe that we share this awareness to a ramification because it says so. It's simply put, it says so, right? Like if I'm just take it as face value, these things are fine, these things aren't, right? All right, happy to live in that.
Yeah.
I can with some things we go on either side. Don't get me wrong, but also the closer you get, the more you understand that God knows that.
Yeah,
God knows you're going to make mistakes and you're going to
yes
sin a little, you know, in certain ways. Please don't judge my knowledge of it. That, you know, it's not that great. But the closer I get to God, man, the more I see things from a different lens, and I think I couldn't do that. That would be very bad to do. And I think that that's just absent from people's minds. And I'm not talking about saying that they're not conscious people, and they're not kind, or they're not able to do good in the world. Don't get me wrong, I'm not misinterpreting that. I just think that there's a level in here. You know, man, Edo.
Yeah, and then I
feel it.
I start to question, like, what type of relationships are these households operating?
Yeah.
How are they going about it? Like, you know, the dynamics, again, being close to God brings you more to that traditional sense of a dynamic of the relationship, which in my opinion is going to be the most successful and healthiest relationship where both genders know their role.
Yeah.
That's it.
Correct. And I think that it's able to be picked, unpacked a bit more as well, right? Like, obviously it's not just, these are your jobs and these are mine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It transcends with that. But a traditional sort of respect, a traditional kind of, okay, this is what I'm going to do and this is what you're going to do fundamentally. And all right, you came home at 9 o'clock, 100% I'm going to make you dinner. If you had, you know, I'm not saying I'm above certain tasks and things that I would do for her or that she would do for me, but you're right. There is that level of, okay, the traditionality approach is going to be the one that's most effective, and that's going to require some letting ego go.
But yeah, a balance in modern day society needs to occur.
Yeah.
Because of the environment we're in.
Correct.
Where, you know, like we were saying before when we were eating, man, like the whole traditional woman, traditional man, it makes it super difficult in modern day society from an economic standpoint, where cost of living is excruciatingly high. And if you want to go down there, dive deep down the rabbit hole, that could be, you know, purposefully done to break the family nucleus, and, you know, that's a whole nother
100%.
You know what I mean? That's 2-3 hours worth.
Don't get me started.
No,
that's all I'm going to say.
We'll speak about that next.
Relationships were lost over certain topics. Put it that way.
But all right, don't even think about that. You know, just going and buying a house, right? We'll use that as an example. Most men aren't able to do that on their own. So it's more enticing to do it with a female because she's working, you can do it together. So then you look at the fabrication of two relationships now. Is it more convenient as well because they need each other? Like I was saying, they need each other.
Yeah, there becomes a dependence.
For the purchase of a home. Now they both need each other to financially, you know, keep themselves afloat.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you're always going to need your partner, don't get me wrong.
100%.
Like, it's not from a negative standpoint, but...
Definitely not.
I guess because now she's bringing money to the table, then it's really not so as traditional as what it once was. And therefore, you now, if you want a traditional relationship, you almost need to have God in the center of it, because that's going to still keep that traditional sense. Whereas if you don't, and say the woman's not religious and now she's earning money, she's more inclined to be like, but I'm earning money, so fuck you and I'll leave.
I agree.
Or I'll do this or I'll do that.
I think it's both ways too.
You know what I mean?
Both ways too, because the bloke can be like, fuck, I don't need this shit, you know what I mean? I think the guy too can make the error in that perspective.
What do you mean by that in that regard?
Like,
There's obviously an error he can make, but in that specific thing,
I think that the male has a role to play too.
like if he's not religious, he can just be like, oh, honestly, bro, I'll just get another bird.
Correct. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So
like,
yes, it works both ways.
100%. Right. I think that.
But at the same time, right, she's bringing in money, so now it makes it harder for him. Essentially, it's almost like now because women always date across and up.
Correct.
So they're going to go for someone that's better than them, right? From a provisional, protective, economical, the work standpoint. That's what it is, across and up. It's hypergamous. So they're looking for someone that's better than them. You're usually not going to talk back to someone that's better than you because they're doing, like, you know what I mean?
I do.
Like, my boss at work, if you are an employee, is better than me. So I'm not going to talk back to him unless I don't need him and I've got another job. Unless she doesn't need him and she can just go get another man. Or unless she doesn't need him and she can provide for herself.
It's a very good point.
She's got the financial means.
Yeah.
She can, I mean, depends on how you look at the world, but you know, we had stabbies in America, but which is going to go against what I'm about to say, but girls just don't get stabbed in the streets. You know what I mean? So they don't really need us to protect them. So what the hell do they need the men for? Companionship. You know, obviously they want to get married because that's what they want and they don't want to die lonely. So when you don't need your partner as much, your husband, the hell are you like, the fuck?
I understand.
Where do you go from there?
Yeah.
And then the glue that holds the two together, it's not like, you know, it's not proper. It's clag there.
Correct.
You know what I mean? You're hanging a picture frame with some clag. It's from Office Works.
That's true. I think also.
But how do you balance? So how do you balance? I don't know if you got the answer, but how do you balance a traditional relationship where I guess the man is the man and the woman is the woman, but the woman's also doing things that traditionally a man would have to do. Yeah. So the man, by and large, has to. He can't sit there and go, "I'm the man."
No.
He has, like you said.
Yeah. You've got to provide something.
Maybe, mate, wash the sheets.
Yeah.
Twice a week, or help her out some aspect.
Chip in some aspect, absolutely.
But that's, I guess, the blend that we have to have in the modern world. But you know what, man? Now I reflect on it. My year worked their balls off.
Very true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I came from Greece. I worked at a fish and chip shop. My mum tells me all the time, we never saw you here. So maybe if they were in the Choryo, different story, but I mean, they're in a survival type of mindset and they have to, well, they wanted to prosper and do well. And, you know, to their credit, they did. I'm sure there's a lot of others there that just stayed home, did nothing, and the couple just came home and did provided.
Correct.
And that was enough to get by then. Sure, they may not have had 10, 15, properties.
No.
Like some Greeks have amassed.
Yeah,
but
of course.
You can't do that these days.
I think though today...
And have the basic life with the basic type of... Like how many factory workers, how many papudas out there were factory workers there?
And were able to support their families.
They probably raised 3 kids.
Yeah.
And then would have paid off fucking spit that on her.
A lot of women know that too today as well, that there is that.
Yeah, bro.
Like I'll use my circumstance as an example. My missus is very educated on society and knows what's around in terms of what kind of information one could be fed and whatnot, and what kind of circumstances society has put us in order for us to have this these roles now that are a little bit different than my papu being able to have one job and looked after my ER. But both of my ERs worked hard too. They both did. So I also understand that perspective. Though in saying that, there was no absence of faith. It's what kept it all together.
Wow.
It's the glue, mate. Right? It's the glue. It's the glue you don't need. It's the glue the world told you didn't need didn't think you needed. Right? The world's telling us that we don't need the glue. What's the glue good for? Mate, you don't know what the glue is good for until you need the glue, mate. I'm telling you, right? And that's the difference.
And
because for some, you have to sometimes touch fire to go, oh, I don't want to get burned again. And in this particular topic, we've got a glue that loves us, mate. Right? God, we could talk for hours about faith. But that's the glue there. It's the glue that I can't give you a direct explanation of. It's the glue that I can't explain everything. But it's because you have an example, and a great example in our Lord and Saviour Jesus Christ, that drives the moral compass, that drives the, okay, I know she's working and whatnot to provide because of the circumstances of society that don't even get me started on, responsible for why she even has to go to work, as an example. But the glue that keeps us, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, like, keeps us in check from that perspective, man. You know, I kind of lost where I was going with that a little bit, I'll be honest. But
no, there was, I think you were trying to look for a final full stop on it.
Yeah, I was looking for a full stop. One of those moments, que tu echas, gone.
But it didn't need it, man.
You know where I'm going with it.
Of course, I get 100% what you're saying, man. And that goes to show, like, and again, this falls back onto the signal, God saying, all right, well, wake up, guys.
100%, man.
You know what I mean? If you're not going to wake up to yourselves, then maybe I've got to pull someone that's going to be impactful enough for people to finally wake up. This is your fall flat on your face type of moment.
Yeah.
And you know what, man? I've had this conversation with heaps of people in regards to where's it all going? Like, we're going to get taken over, this and that. If you read history, and the importance of reading history is that you start to understand human psychology.
Patterns.
Exactly, wave patterns of like cyclical things that happened in the world. There's going to be an era of something always.
Yeah.
But it's never going to be forever.
No.
Alexander ruled the majority of the world while he was alive. Was that going to be forever? No.
No.
Persians came, they had their little dynasty. Was it forever? No. Roman Empire, that ended. Ottomans, ended. Now we've got the Pustides. That's going to end too. It's eventually going to end.
The only thing that we haven't yet determined is what's going to be the driving force to that.
Because the reason is...
You know, does God have to rip a flood on us? I'm not saying that.
Who knows?
But like, that's the thing. This is what I'm talking about earlier about ramifications, right? About the respect that you have for ramifications and discipline. I believe God to have the... We all do who believe, but what I'm trying to say here is, I have in my mind, God's ramifications have no end. He could just decide to go, all right, here's a tidal wave, boy, this. Cop that. We're gone.
Correct.
So I think about what I do. I better not do that because God can do this. So what's going to happen to me when I have to face that, answering that question? Mm-hmm. You know?
Because if everyone bought in on the homosexual propaganda, if everybody signed up to it, the human race would die in 100 years.
Oh, easily.
It's gone. Like, no one's reproducing. How can you reproduce if everyone's homosexual?
Oh, but we can freeze it and then inject.
But you're homosexual.
Yeah. Correct. It's not going to happen. Can't happen.
Like, unless obviously do that surrogacy and all that sort of stuff. But you know what I'm trying to say?
Biologically, it doesn't work.
So, this is what I'm saying.
There are multiple facets to saying exactly what you're saying. Right? There's many ways to articulate it. Again, I'll go back and forth. I'm going to keep fucking hammering the nail to this. It's the absence of God in the center of society, man. Some things we can say are unexplainable. Chemical imbalances, alright, I get it. It's probably an element to things too. But fundamentally, man, it's kind of not going to work. And then you have people who don't have it. Hey man, I get along. We're not bad people. Good people. We'll do a fundraiser. We're all right. We don't need God. You know. Push come to shove, those people. See what happens. You know.
And again, those pushes and the shoves maybe is a signal to God, from God, saying, Ella, like...
That's exactly how I view it now. You know? That's exactly how I view it. That it was the pilgrimage to God. Part of it. Not taking away from anything from to anyone who's done a pilgrimage, but you know what I mean. A spiritual pilgrimage. The trials and tribulations. Where have we turned to? Who showed up the most? You know, I'm going to respect that. I'm not supposed to do this, this and this. And in order to have the privilege that I do, to live a life that I have, it's a pretty good deal, man. You know, it's a pretty good deal. Just, you know, if you really want to just simplify it, just be conscious of God in any move that you make in your life, whether that's the next word that comes out of your mouth, or whether that's the next move that you make. If you try and be that present and conscious of it, I'm sure things will pan out just fine for you. Dovlepo.
5:30.
5:30. I've been holding on to a piece for approximately 27 minutes.
They've just rang the doorbell.
Knowing the time that we had. I'm going to piss and get out of here.
Done.
You do your session. Been a pleasure, dear.